Clinic owners, if you think there isn't enough time in the day and you're someone who always feels like there is just not enough time, you're stressed out with patient management, with team training, with hiring or firing, and the rest, you're not alone, but I'm here to help you. I promise by the end of this video, you'll have at least 5 strategies how to manage your time more effectively and better to increase your productivity, reduce your stress, and actually focus on what drives business and what the main reason for you starting the business was in the first place. Hi, my name is Stefan Gospodinov. I'm the founder of Practice Peak, and we help many clinics build better businesses to have more impact. And I'm really passionate about these videos. And also I'm fully aware that some of you will not take them seriously because they're free. You know, when free content comes out, who takes it seriously? If this cost £1,000, you would treat them very differently. But what if I told you that the value of what I'm going to share with you will probably save you a lot more money than £1,000 and more effectively save you your sanity as well? Because this is really important for clinic owners, not to feel lonely, not to feel like there's mental burden, they're just stressed out, not happy with what you started. Because I know most of you started a business to help more people and make some money. But what turns out is you're just constantly stressed out, you're spending too much time on the wrong tasks, and you just don't have enough time to even think about making the business exciting. So let's talk about 5 main hacks how to get your time back and how to be a better leader and lead more effectively. There's going to be some strategies that I have personally tested for many different reasons, and my personal story, as some of you know, is the last 7 or 8 years, I streamlined and systemized my practice in a way that doesn't require me anymore to work in the business. So I don't actually see patients anymore. And as soon as I've stepped away, the business has gone from strength to strength. Team satisfaction is improved. We deliver better service to more patients. So ultimately, it's a win-win-win. I call it the winning triangle, meaning it's a win for my team, it's a win for the business, and it's more importantly a win for the C stands for the client. And anytime I do anything in my business, I always think about this triangle. And this wasn't even intent of the video, but I think it's an important framework to think about as a business owner. So tip number 1. Tip number 1 is this concept of what we call time blocking. Time blocking is different blocking than scheduling meetings or having certain to-dos in your diary. Time blocking is 8 to 10 a.m. every day I spend on business development. This is not me personally now, but it's an example. 6 to 7 p.m. is family time. 12 p.m. every day is lunchtime and stretches. So you're blocking a certain time in your Google Calendar, in your Apple Calendar, whatever management calendar you use, to make sure that that time is blocked for a specific task. And actually what it means is, and this is where most people get it wrong, let's say this is 8 a.m. and this is 11 a.m. and I have blocked the time in my calendar for business development, and then 11 o'clock comes, I stop. I stick to it. I don't go, oh, you know what, let me just carry on from 11 to 12 to do more business development. No, this is not you're completing a project, so let me see how long it takes. You're blocking time in the diary in these boxes, and there is such freedom to that, and you can still do that on a smaller scale even if you're a single doc practitioner, because yours might look like 8 until 12 adjusting patients, 12 until 2 free time, creative time. Creative time means I can go for a walk, I can go to the gym, I can call my best friend and see how they're doing, I can join a mastermind and do a little bit of external learning. It doesn't have to be a specific task which limits you. This is very important. So time blocking, it's one of the probably hacks that protects your schedule, the easiest way to do that. So think about it. Yeah, what does your typical week look like? How messy is it currently? And how can I block it so it becomes easier to apply that one tip? So tip number 1 is time blocking. Read more about it if you need to. The concept is very simple. It's very difficult for people to actually apply because we just don't like change. And if you are currently stuck in a certain position, it's probably because of the way you're thinking and the way you are behaving. Someone told me once that you're only intelligent if you learn something new, but if that new thing that you learned changes your behavior. If your behavior is the same and you think you've learned something, you haven't learned it because you've not applied it, because you've not applied it, it's not really changed your outcome. It's not really changed the output of the thinking system. Great. I hope this makes sense. Tip number two to increase your productivity, reduce your stress in your practice is to delegate. A lot of you hate this one. A lot of you know you should be doing it. I spoke to a private client this morning and we were saying, hey, why is it that you're doing everything yourself still? You have 4 chiropractors, a clinic manager, 2 CAs, and you're still doing everything yourself. Delegation is actually, I believe, it's something that is, if you don't delegate, you're not fair on your team. Because if you don't learn how to delegate like a pro, they expect a certain standard and they don't actually know what it looks like to be busy. They don't know what it looks like to have a lot of stuff to do. All they're seeing is their boss running up and down like a crazy chicken. But if you are not delegating, you're probably doing too much. And I don't know if that comes from lack of, like you have to give up some control and autonomy, but people like that. People deserve to be an expert in their field. A CA should be a CA after 3 years of working with you should be a better CA than you are. You should know what they do, but they should be better than you at the job itself. A clinic manager should technically be a better manager than you are after you have, oh, by the way, if you didn't watch our previous video, please go back and watch it because we talked about this framework of how you can massively scale your business and impact your team and your patients with just a 3D, I call it the 3Ds framework. So if you didn't get a chance to watch that, please go back in the previous video and watch it. But you've got to delegate. One exercise that I learned from a book called Buy Back Your Time was to work out what your time is worth per hour. And let's say right now is £100. And you can work that out very easily, like how many hours do you do a week, or what's your annual earnings divided by the number of hours you work, and then you know per hour. If I was to be booked every single hour of the week that I work, what is my time worth? If it's $100, anything, or £100, and you started to design a leaflet like this one, and that took you 2 hours, is that leaflet design really worth £200, or can you delegate that on Fiverr for $50 for someone to design that? This is the level of thinking you have to develop if you want to delegate and buy back some time. Train your front desk, train the CAs and associates properly so they can take ownership. And again, the previous video we released, I think it's called the 3D framework, is going to change the way you practice, not just with patients, but how you practice building teams, leading teams, and managing teams. So the less you micromanage, the more time you have. And the more time you have, the more you can focus on the real stuff, which is how do I scale the business, keeping the same amount of, keeping the same level of impact, but not to have to do everything myself, because that's the whole point of having a team. That's the whole point of having a team. And no one in the team, I promise you, no one in your team wants to be bored, sitting down, not have anything to do. So learn how to delegate like a pro. Cool. I need to take a deep breath in, guys. I'm getting quite passionate about this. Tip number 3 is you need to think in systems. You need to start learning, how can I systemize systems plus automations? I had one of my private clients observing our clinic a few weeks ago, and we had 600 and something visits that week, and they were observing on a Monday morning, I believe, and we had like 60 to 80 visits probably that morning, and the phone rang up 4 times. The front desk phone rang 4 times, I kid you not. And the person was like making notes, and they've got their pad with them, and they're like, why is no one ringing? That's why, because we came up with systems. We came up with understanding where the bottlenecks and the workflow challenges are in the business. And we created softwares, automations, follow-up systems to take care of that, because you cannot always rely on people. People have certain skills and certain value they add to the business, such as a smile from a CA. I can't replicate that with a machine, not yet, but I can replicate a welcome funnel. So the patient, when a patient gets onboarded, we click a button and they enter a funnel. They stop treatment for whatever reason. We click another button, they enter another funnel. This is the kind of stuff that we think about when we build 7-figure practices. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. Is it doable? 100% it's doable. So that was point number 3. To sum up so far, protect your time. There's many techniques. One of the things I found works really well for me is time blocking. Learn how to delegate, practice it. It's just like another skill. It feels very uncomfortable and unnatural to begin with. And after you've done it a few times, you think, that wasn't that difficult. And people are happy and the job gets done and the results are still the same whether I do it or someone else does it. Another lesson I got taught by a mentor of mine was if someone can do it at 70% how you would do it, delegate it. Because 70% done 5 times is much better than doing it 1 time at 100% of what you think you're good at. Finally, tip number 3 is systemize and automate. Super important. And tip number 4 is one definitely for people who haven't managed teams yet, but you will learn that this is going to be a challenge. And unless you learn this next one and you practice it properly and consistently, and you are strict with it, you're not going to succeed. I promise you. And I know it sounds slightly like, it's like an anticlimax, like, yeah, business, I'm going to be amazing and everyone's going to love me. No, you have to learn how to set clear boundaries. Set clear boundaries with your CAs, with your chiropractors, with your practitioners, with your management, with the cleaner for the building, with the gardeners, with your partner, with your kids. You have to know how to set a clear boundary for your team to understand what's okay and what's not okay. It's easy when it's just you and your mum in practice. It's easy when it's just you and your wife at the front desk. Very challenging when you hire your first CA and your second CA and your second chiropractor and your first massage therapist, and you've got a team of 11, team of 15, then you're thinking, whoa, everyone needs to understand the boundary. It's not fair on people if they don't know where the boundary is. It's your responsibility as a clinic owner to set the boundaries. And clinic owners really, really struggle with boundaries. Whether that's with patients, whether that's with staff, whether that's with themselves. Don't let this admin work that you have to do spill into your personal life, and don't let your personal life come into work. So yes, of course, it's important to have a business, but it's a business. Don't let it affect your mental health. Don't bring it home. I struggled with this stuff a lot. The first 6 to 12 months opening the practice, it's maybe a bit too transparent. I didn't sleep. It's horrendous. Like, we went from having myself and 1 CA to having 3 chiropractors, 3 massage therapists, 4 CAs in 12 months. So you can imagine the level of responsibility that took, the level of growth and evolution, personal development, challenges. I just didn't sleep. It was just so. By the way, what I did, I do not recommend. What I'm just saying to you is, you have to set clear boundaries. One rule that I can teach you here that has helped me a lot is the 3-2-1 rule. I have a different 3-to-1 rule for my journaling and reflection. This is more for business. And I learned this from an executive manager in a big company. And he said to me, most of the time, Stefan, people have the answer themselves. They're just lazy to think about figuring it out. So if you set culture in your team that actually people only come to you with the 3-2-1 rule, then great, you've created some amazing team players. And what that means is, someone comes to you and they say, "Hello, Stefan, like a patient wants to stop care. Oh, I don't know what to do." They're all panicking. I say, "Okay, give me 3 solutions, potential solutions to that problem." And they might say, "Okay, the first thing we could probably do is, I don't know." I was like, "Come on, let's think. Patient wants to cancel. What's the first thing we will do?" "Okay, we can ask them why." "Great, okay." Then the second thing, we can also tell them to maybe have a chat with the chiropractor. "Okay, great. What else can we do?" "Maybe we can tell them maybe to pop in and it's a complimentary check and they can speak to the chiropractor, and if they have any concerns or any questions, the chiropractor will probably be the best person to speak to because it's a medical thing." Brilliant. Okay, so you've got 3 solutions. What are the 2 best solutions out of those 3? I suppose it doesn't really matter why they're cancelling. They decided to stop anyway, so we might as well try and either get the chiropractor to call them or for them to come for a complimentary check by the chiropractor and they can have a chat. Okay, great. So what do you think we should go?